have been sort of surprise package, but not in the way that you want, to be honest with you. They really do seem to be having a few struggles just getting themselves going. You just feel like they are one win away from just climbing out of whatever funk it is that they've got themselves into. It's, you know, if they can break that seal and just start picking up some results, then you would expect, with the experience and the players that they've got on side, that we would start to see some quick and major improvements.
Ian Gon has the potential of a push, and I think it's a fair removal. It has been wielded well by CYCLOPS. They do like to bring that aggressive gameplay too, and it's something where they love to just really dig in against a site. They'll take an opportunity and they'll make it look like, well, it was a bit of a cakewalk. Thatcher Gone is a fair removal. They took a bit of time to break that one down, but it's Villa. It's hefty. There is some heavy hard walls you've got to make your way through. So, yeah, let's limit things a little.
A solid ban, basically the most popular that we've got, really, with Thatcher, as you say. Just the versatility of those EMP grenades, always valuable to send them off to the wayside. Maestro is going to be our first defensive ban, pretty much the same as we saw last time around on the defensive side, as I would imagine that Mirror will more than likely follow here on Villa, but it could be in for a surprise. It's going to actually be Valkyrie. So again, we've seen a lot of Valkyrie bans so far this season, just really shouting as to how important that utility is. Her black eye cameras, 3 of them that can be dispersed around the map and just feed information back into the defenders. There will be no more.
Our spirits are high inside chat, and let's see if that continues over into the game itself. Fnatic opening on their defense, and as we saw earlier today, Villa, it often is a defender-sided story. It's one where you have a lot of those very heavy brick walls to aid and kind of just assist all of the angles and ways you want to dig in. Sure, we're looking at a momentum that's getting faster and faster, and the season and meta is very aggressive, and CYCLOPS are a very good team at pushing the pressure and applying it. So if anyone's going to be able to make some magic happen on their attacks, they're definitely one of the teams to watch. But as I said at the beginning, okay, there's expectations. CYCLOPS, well, you expect them to take things, but Fnatic, with a lack of kind of luster and full fat points that they've been able to pull from this season so far, they're still knocking on the door so frequently.
Well, this is it. You look at Fnatic, and it's one of those teams. You look at the list of players, and you know what they're capable of. And every time they come into a game, no matter the results that they've had so far, you still feel like this could be Fnatic's here. You know, this could be the turning point for them. And so there's that eternal promise coming out of the Australian side. And as I said earlier, it's, for me, just about them getting themselves, you know, they've had a couple of false starts, and it's now about locking down a result. But the difficulty that they've had is 2 play days of Cloud9 and CYCLOPS back-to-back. It's not going to make things easy for them. They've really come up against these teams at the exact wrong time within the stage. If this had been their play day 6 and 7 back-to-back, and they'd managed to get themselves rolling with a few wins, then you sort of think, yeah, they're probably going to come away with as much as they lose there. But, you know, right now, it's hard to feel that sort of confidence.
Well, the last time these two teams did butt head during Stage 2, it was a 7-2 to CYCLOPS on Villa, but that was the split where we saw the fantastic open from that Fnatic to go 7-0. So, the change here is obviously Alfama. Let's see what the man who's been able to do quite big bits for Fnatic and bring themselves a little bit of a semblance of structure and solidity on that final push, if he can be the make or break to start pulling those precious wins back into their pockets. Sticks first under pressure and assault inside 90. The frag bounce is one way. He is able to keep himself still steady, and Alfama is the one under the other bit of pressure. The split on the main brick stairs is bouncing more grenades around to him. He pops a second canister, and that gets caught in the ADS, and he has the wherewithal to go, well, I can't really hold all of this, and where is everybody else for now? Give us the update, and unfortunately the first one comes, and it's Stiggs dropped on 90.
4 versus 4, we find ourselves with only a minute and a half gone here, as we've seen very quick pressure being applied by CYCLOPS, but Fnatic showing that they are equal to it, at least for the time being. Now, CYCLOPS, they're going to just dip themselves back a little bit. They're going to take the foot off the gas, and they're going to back away. They've pretty much foregone that push onto the south stairs. They've dipped away from that fight, and they're looking to mount a north-sided push here. So still plenty of time to deal with that sort of rotation. They've got manpower over on this side side now, and it looks like they're going to have somebody just wedged in on those red stairs potentially. The shots are exchanged. Tex is not going to take any damage. He's going to look to hold himself there, just peeking, taking shots, finds one onto Black Ray. That's great play from Tex, and he's going to burn at least 20 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, it was very bold attempt there from Black Ray to just try and get something solid, but Tex, he was a high performer in the first week, and he's unfortunately had not quite the standout performance, but it was standout, and he's ready to stand up though, and here get a triple on the opener, looking for a fourth as Suzu C rotates around to the top of red. There's Gatorada on the door, there's the quad though, and there's the ace. Tex!
Tex going absolutely huge inside of round one. He's a name that we've been shouting throughout the stage, and he just continues not only to perform but impress. Absolutely locking things down there and signing, sealing, and sending a message to CYCLOPS to say you are not going to have anything easy here today. There will be no quarter asked nor given here inside of Villa.
Trophy statuary. Now, the last time I remember a team and a player opening up with an ace on the defense on Villa, it was actually Kavana, and it was Sloth. And he opened with an ace, and I can't remember who their opponents were, but in his quote, he said, well, I wanted to put fear in them. And you know...
Well, I think you've achieved that.
And that's it. And that's what you've got, Fnatic. You've got this build-up, this opener against a team that is often hyper-confident. We saw the mad dash attempts Black Ray was making to get that camera, got through, got caught, got put to bed. But Tex opening with an ace, that's energy, that's momentum. This is what Fnatic can start to find now.
Mag and Tex just sharing a moment in the bathtub there, getting set up. We've got a mute jammer, we've got an ADS being deployed, so that would suggest there's going to be a strong defensive presence inside of the bathroom there. That is an awful lot of utility for a very small area. The Goyo shield present as well, a second ADS. I think there might be a little bit of focus onto keeping hold of that bathroom for as long as possible. Of course, if the wall is left soft, you can challenge through onto closet window as well, so it gives you an option to just try and hold at bay from that side. Now, this is an interesting extension as well. We can see Alfama there just applying a mirror window out into the onto the wall, going through from Aviator into Study. Now, that's going to really slow down a south-sided push. They're obviously very aware that last time around CYCLOPS were able to push in from the north. That was the large focus there, and this time they're expecting that they might see a reversal of that, and that maybe CYCLOPS are looking to have that additional room to play into by pushing from the opposite side of the map to where the site is located. Now then, that was an attempt from Tex, and maybe a bit of overconfidence there as he tries to have a little peek, but Gatorada just shuts him right down.
Well, there's nobody you want first off the body, but we talk about momentum and movement. Let's see if Fnatic can capitalize behind the wake made by Tex on the previous round. Black Ray is looking for some just anything from the back of Astro Stairs. No calls, no audio, so no pressure as of yet. Waiting for somebody else to potentially be punished. Without a body on that Astro window, it's not something he can steadily get too aggressive with until they've made some ground elsewhere, and that is coming through here, the bathroom, as Anaton hops in round the corner and tries to put the pinch and the pressure on, with Stig suffering a little bit. There it is, as I said, waited for that first step, found the second perfectly in rhythm, and finds a third on that. The double locks it down and allows them to start applying some pressure and attention to the two remaining Fnatic bodies.
This is exactly the game that we expected it to be so far, round two, and CYCLOPS coming out and looking dominant on the attack of trophy statuary here. 5 versus 2, Mag taking damage, and this is surely a matter of time. Lusty tries to get aggressive up in the face of those attackers, but will not find any joy beyond one kill. Anaton shutting him down in a well-timed trade. Gatorada moves round, but he can't get to Mag before Gator, and that is going to be round 2 shut down for CYCLOPS.
Well, the perfect response is a blow for a blow with a huge amount of pace. Okay, it wasn't the ace of the flawless, but at the same time, it was solid. They knew where they needed to be, and it was built upon the back of taking down that Jaeger. Tex went bold and brave, and to be fair, it paid off for him in the first round. The second suffered, and as we said at the very beginning of the day, if CYCLOPS with their big beaming eye singularly see an opportunity, they love to take it.
Round number 3 then, and they're going to be looking to find themselves another opportunity. I'm absolutely sure of that. They're going to be attacking this time onto Dining and Kitchen. Fnatic feeling like they were nowhere near close enough to try trophy statuary again. So they're going to head downstairs. So what we're likely to see from the attackers this time around, it's a site that we don't see defended too often. It's the tertiary site. We might see it once or twice a game, I would say, at a push. So you may be forgiven for not having seen this one attacked all too many times. But generally speaking, we would expect CYCLOPS to be looking to get that top floor control. So they need to get a handle on where any Fnatic roamers are. We can see there's utility once again being applied to the bathroom there, and that is because it's directly above site. So they're going to want to get Anaton inside of there and opening up all that lovely soft floor that they've got. They're going to rip up the flooring that has been put down in the villa, and they're going to see what vertical angles they can get from master and from bathroom. So initially, in the first minute and a half or so of the round, it's going to be all about Fnatic holding them at bay, keeping them out of those locations. What they don't want is to try and have to absorb 2.5 minutes of pressure inside of sight. Now, Stiggs is just having a look for an early pick there. He dips away from the window just in time, I think, as Aegator was more than alert to that danger.
Yeah, didn't want to roll the dice and risk the potential rewards that came, especially after it suffered them so greatly in the first round. Gatorada digs in an art to try to paint the painting of, well, let's get control of this ground floor. The deep search via wine isn't too common. Usually you'll see them go deep inside the door instead, behind the car, but here they want to be steady about it. They know Fnatic can play loose and can play aggressive, and they're still going to keep some air of caution as the first bit of pressure comes via pantry. The wall gets popped open, causing a little bit of uncomfort inside the site. Means the holds that they hold can't be as deep and as attuned to those pantry stairs, and that allows them to start spinning up from the opposite side.
It's a good start for CYCLOPS on the attack there. If they can apply the vertical pressure that I was discussing, they haven't got in a position where they're able to do that yet. But with that pantry breach as well, it becomes very difficult inside a site. Now, Tex this time, instead of going down first, will find the opener onto Gatorada, but traded out immediately by Aegator. So we find ourselves 4 versus 3 as Alfama once again putting that shotgun to great work. But what I like to see here is Aegator getting in there with trade after trade after trade. So important. Black Ray, you just need to look a millimeter more. No, Mag's gonna shut him down. That leaves us now 2 versus 1 in favour of Fnatic. There is an age of time left on the clock. That is the one thing in Suzuki's favour. However, hit points are not in his favour at all. He does try to get the diffuser down and is likely to be successful, though. That is a bold move from Suzuki there. Just immediately puts the defenders on the back foot, just potentially flips the script and means that they have to be the aggressors. They've now got 23 seconds to find the ace and shut him down. He's got his back against the hard reinforcement and he's going to hold down that single door. There is absolutely no impact they can have on him from this side of the map. 13 seconds left to go. They have to find him here. This is where the challenge comes. Suzuki cannot find it. Lusty manages to move in and get the kill, and that is going to allow just enough time to disable that active diffuser. And what a shame for Suzuki. So close with so little to gaining so much.
I do like the way Fnatic played that. Obviously, it was built upon Mag staying upstairs and saying, "Hold on, I've just got a thing up here, and then I'll be right with you." They pulled themselves back down from the outside of the sites. It turned into a retake position, which I don't think Suzuki was entirely aware of, and maybe didn't instantly leap towards putting the diffuser down. They threw themselves at the possibility of an opening, as I said that CYCLOPS like to do. But also, as I said, Fnatic, they like to play a bit loose and a bit aggressive, and they're more than capable of doing it. As we see there, the 2 of them able to double down. They went either side. They had the idea and impression of where he was and where the diffuser was, and they went, well, let's set up the trade, set up the positioning, and set themselves up for another round.
Great play. Suzuki's one gunfight away from winning that round. If he can beat the frost on the door, then I think he comes away with that, because he knows where the remaining angle is likely to be challenged from, and he's got about 5 seconds left to survive. There's even the potential that he could dash out into corridor and just try and create a bit of distance. But ultimately, with low HP, it was always going to be a big ask, and Lusty able to just keep himself mobile, not giving an easy headshot up, and able able to close out the round. But what excitement we've had inside of the first 3 here. We've had an ace from Tex in round 1. We've had a diffuser on the ground and a close attempt at a 1 versus 2 in round 3. This one is going to be white knuckle pace throughout.
Let's see if they can set themselves up with a little bit more solidity in terms of getting control of the bodies onside the site. Sometimes when you get a little bit blinkered, whether you have 2 eyes or 1, you still limit the possibility of where else they can be. And in the case of Fnatic previously, verticality seemed to come through for them in a method and story of success. Okay, they went for a very wide clear at the beginning, went deep onto Wine, and kind of seemed like they had an idea of what they're doing. But at the same time, if one step seems out of place, maybe sniff for the mystery, Sherlock, instead of assuming things are a-okay, Poirot. But the frag grenades underneath the corner. They're going for the same entrance here against Stiggs as they did before. He is on a pretty solid floor, though.
Stiggs is just holding himself tight on the angle there. Seems like a bit of a risk when he knows that he's been drawn out. They're fully aware of his position, but it's going to be Gatorada this time to open things up on Tex. And interestingly, that is now the 3rd round in a row that one of those 2 people have killed each other. The entry battle is all coming down to Tex versus Gatorada, and right now it's Gatorada in the lead at 2-1, so that gives the early advantage to Cyclops, but it is leveled up as Aegator goes by the wayside on the Ash, leaving us 4 versus 4. Halfway into the round now, and Cyclops don't have any meaningful map control just yet. We can see them still pushing onto the south stairs there. Stiggs is yet to be dislodged, and that for me is a little bit of a problem. He's overpeaked there. There's no real need for him to be challenging onto that window. It's going to be difficult, and whilst he remains in position, it stops the push up the red stairs, which they've now been free to make. Gatorada finishing that kill and leaving us 4 versus 3, and look at the control that Cyclops have got in a matter of seconds. Stiggs really needed to just, if he's committing to that location, don't peek the window, hold himself down. But Mag, he's going to get one down behind the deployable shield. That's the diffuser down on Cold on the ground as well. 3 versus 3 coming into the final 50 seconds.
Well, what a pop and what a play by Mag. Hopped over the shield to get a bit of revenge for the control they lost around red. Suzu C is going for the big rotation here. Obviously the diffuser's there, so you got to make some presence known, but the concern is also with a study. It seems they have some opening, so they can't just go in full flash deep. But this slow creep round the corner yet again, they didn't quite see the man close on the right. The pulses are going to come out. The sound and the audio of the shield gets dropped. They want to do a bit of a split push here, but with Lusty buried in on the corner and Mag and Alfama stretched out to offer any side support that they need, well, it's going to come down to right now. Black Ray swings onto one, lost to Alfama. There is Mag for his 3rd for the round. And Fnatic find their 3rd too.
Another close round there as the kills all come down to a 2 versus 2, and they're just raining backwards and forwards at the minute. There is absolutely no clear advantage to be gained here, but the only one that matters is the one that Fnatic have secured on the scoreboard, and that is 3-1. They are winning some tough rounds here. They're being forced all the way to the limit, but they are responding, and that's what we haven't seen consistently from Fnatic so far this season. They haven't always raised themselves to the challenge that has been put in front of them, but right now they certainly seem to be going that way. The one concern I've got, if I have to pick one up at this point, is that Fnatic have had reasonable starts in games so far and then have been unable to hold on to them, and I don't want to see that again from them today.
That's it. Got to go the distance. Got to secure probably at least a 4-2 if they want to have some comfort before they head over to their attacks. As you said, sometimes things get a little bit shaky as the game reaches new depths, but we have to give credit to the way they've seemingly grown. We talked about, obviously, how great it is to open with an ace. The response came, though, and since then, Fnatic have stepped up across the board. We've seen them mobile, we've seen them active, and we've seen every single body being able to put in some of the plays that they need to. Sometimes things have seemed a little slippy, like the swing wide onto the 90 window, but outside of that, it was based, you assume, upon calls of, well, they're coming, so why not flip a coin, see if you can drop that body and that man, because either way, you probably don't have a huge amount of time left when that hatch is hard.
10 seconds into the round then, and once again, quick aggression coming in from CYCLOPS. They are looking to get themselves inside of the building quickly now. Interestingly, we have got a knock on the board. I'm always interested whenever we have this operator brought along. It's going to be Black Ray this time around, and I mean, it just, if nothing else, opens up a world of pun opportunities.
I mean, I know that one of the things we were talking about was if you were to have certain skins who would get it, and knock is always a great one for a lot of skins, but either way, that's an entirely different conversation, and this, well, is the call that is being made instead as they try to find out what their opinions are. Alfama's is, I don't care about skins, get out of here, Gatoretta, this is my corridor, locked down from above yet again. Verticality is coming through for Fnatic. They tried a little bit of a stealthy approach, but failed because they just didn't double check it.
2 for 2 so far on the entry is Gatorada falling by the wrong side of it in this round. Black Ray, he's going to find Tex and shut him down. He says, knock, knock, who's there? It's me, and you're dead. And he's going to shut him down to level things out 4-4. Coming into the second half of this round here, and CYCLOPS just once again not really establishing themselves sort of any map control quickly. It's something that I've picked up on previously. We've got 2 of them still outside of the building. We've got Black Ray still moving around underneath. Alligator as well joining the party there, just trying to dislodge this mirror, which is a very good strategy, a good push, because it's just preventing them from getting inside of the building, and we see Alfama just having to move himself away there. So good progress now being made from CYCLOPS, but I'm just a little bit concerned about time. They've got 2 downstairs still and a minute left to go, with the 2 upstairs not inside the map yet, so they need to make sure that they get a move on. They don't want to run short on time again.
So that's the concern, and that's the pulse as they start to try and use those frags underneath, concerned about anyone that's behind the rotation or the desk, but nobody is. Nobody's caught, and nobody's home to finish the punchline of the pre-aforementioned joke. But there's a popped shield. There's a swing a little bit too high for a body they obviously do not know is there, and with 40 seconds, well, they're going to find that one instead. Here comes the other man who likes to knock down doors, and he's going to swing close. No. Changes his mind and realizes, well, let's keep this as a bit of solidity for now as we try and swing and capitalize on the other split of the site. The spray comes through, caught for unfortunately there, but they pull back. Mag with a double. There's Anaton to shut down Lusty, puts us in a 1 versus 1. Mag inside the bedroom. He ain't the one sleeping though.
Black Ray having a great round up to the very climax there, but it was just not enough for him as he tried to get in and move through the rotation, but he was just shut down in a hail of bullets as we found Fnatic just flip the round on its head. Mag able to shut it down once again. He has been an absolute stalwart for the Australian side today.
I think it's a good thing to see as well, because often, obviously, with Fnatic as a roster, you know, you look for these big performances from some of the other players, and you look for these kind of big, like, moments and the jaw-dropping moments. Mag is, by a lot of people's definitions on the world scene, he is Fnatic. He is this face, this, like, beating heart of positivity and screaming highlight reels and consistency. And I think it's good that we start to get a little bit of, like, more of a demonstration of what he can do when he starts to heat up. Because I guess, I don't know if it's one of those things where you're a little bit waiting for it, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would completely agree. I mean, we look at him inside of this game, 7-1, and it's like you say, you know, you use the phrase there, beating heart, and I think that's absolutely right. Mag comes out with a game like 7-1, and the rest of the team respond to it. The rest of the team, they pick up on that, and they start performing themselves, and you get this then happy competition within the team. It's, you know, you start fighting each other for kills and trying to push through, and those difficult situations where you left like at the last of the latter round of that round there was, it's just not so difficult to push through it. It's not as difficult anymore because everybody just seems to have this positivity now then. Gatorada going in very quickly on the Amaru. Look at that, straight into the ADS, looking to see if he can catch anybody out, just going for this top floor clearance. We are, of course, attacking onto dining and kitchen, but as I said previously, there is going to be a lot of focus on getting that top floor. Small mistakes like that can cost big problems as Gatorada does not take out the default cam. The information is there, the challenge is made by Lusty, and he has been beaten away.
Yet again, we're seeing these fights happen on these windows. I do like, obviously, the pickup there of the Amaru, and I think with certain hatches, certain places and plays, we've seen some insane success stories that have played out before in other regions, and I guess there's always that little bit of excitement of, is this one of those rounds? They're still alive, there's still potential and possibility, and for the first time, Tex hasn't really been involved in the opening fight. Oh, there he is! Just on cue, Anaton gets shut down.
I think you owe Anaton an apology there, to be honest with you. You've obviously just given Tex the caster boost coming into that gunfight, and he has shut him down. And as you say, Tex and Gatorade are two that we have seen very consistently involved in these early round skirmishes. Now, Gatorade does find one for himself, but who else should step up? Mag getting the frag, Blackray, however, trading that out and leaving us now 3 versus 3. And this has been another sort of real defining characteristic of this game, has been these early round battles. A lot of kills going down in the early rounds, and Aegator getting in on the party with a kill onto Tex, leaving us 3 versus 2. 1 minute 10 left to go, and I would expect a natural bit of a lull now, because you've got 2 Fnatic members that are on site, give or take. Lusty is a couple of rooms away, but they're going to just now try to lock this down. However, on the opposite side, CYCLOPS, they're going to take this time. They know they've got a minute left. They're going to hit the drones. They're going to try and locate exactly where these two are, and they're going to try and give themselves any sort of advantage that they can now. Aegator's been downed by something. I'm not 100% sure what. Blackray steps in and gets the kill onto Lusty. I think you're probably right there. Now, 1 versus 3.
Wow, there goes one of those bodies picked up and dropped for your punishment, I suppose, as Aegator is able to find himself back around on the opposite side. The concern is one more of those traps not caught is going to catch them, going to try and stick the plant detected outdoors. They know where one body is, and they're opting to keep it going there. Find ourselves in a post plant for the second time on this site. This time, the roles are reversed. The 2 versus 1 goes the way of CYCLOPS, a 4-2 split, but Fnatic have looked very good so far. Can they keep it up? Is that $1,000,000 question.
Well, I think that is the question now. They've looked very, very dominant, as you said there. 4-2, I don't think probably quite accurately reflects what we've seen. We've seen a couple of good passages of play from CYCLOPS, but just a little bit of hesitance in some areas. I think, you know, a little bit slow to get inside of the map sometimes in key areas, particularly gaining control of Master and Bathroom, for example, when looking to push into Trophy and Statuary. But they have been winning gunfights. We can see that much for sure. Blackray up there on 8 kills doing fantastically well. But Fnatic overall, for me, are just functioning a little bit better as a team. They're looking like the slicker outfit at this point, but they've now got to come back and they've got to find that success on the attack, and I want to see them carry forward that decisiveness that they've shown and the aggression that they've shown, the willingness of Tex, for example, to get into those early gunfights. I want to see that really translated here. Tex and Lusty working together. They've got the Lion, they've got the EE1D scans. They can assist the Ashe in pushing forward, getting aggressive and taking roamers out, and hopefully that's something we'll see.
Well, CYCLOPS, you've struggled at points, but you still have that fire that burns just under the surface, ready to take out any opponents that throw themselves your way. However, so far, Fnatic, they've kept themselves nicely away from the danger. The damage that we're about to potentially see, though, is this time they are charging headlong into it. This time, they're the ones that have to set the pace and try to set this into their hands, and well, how prepared are they for that, I suppose, is that question as we start to see it posed by the approach here. Lion on the board, the E1D instantly popped as they start to swing round and get close on those angles. They see that there's a big body depository all the way along that long classical hallway, and instead opt for the pings and the pop over the top.
See 2 or 3 pings picking up there, and ultimately defenders that are located inside a site, I would say generally aren't going to be too worried about moving whilst that Lion scan is active. If anything, by throwing up 4 or 5 pings on the screen, it can make it more difficult to focus in on the roamers, particularly because you're getting a lot of information at once that you've got to work through. It's not impossible, but anything you can do to just make the attacking, aggressive entry fraggers' job's more difficult, will be better. blackray, look at that for a kill. Headshot on Lusty through the soft surface, and that is what it's all about. Shutting down the Ash, looking to make a challenge onto the Iana. Suzuki gets in on the party, but Stiggs manages to shut down blackray. 4 versus 3 now we find ourselves, and once again it's this flurry of kills in the early round.
Well, that's 2 bodies dropped for Fnatic. They at least found one of the roamers, but they only found one of the roamers. You've lost your ranged soft destruction with that Ash gone, and Buck getting underneath this site as well, which is how a lot of people play it. So instead, you're stuck knocking down and trying to batter onto the doors of the site itself. Tex finds that opener and finds himself behind the strategy table, waiting for a head to swing round from the gun vault as Alfama finds Wamai round the back stairs. Crept and puts the body balance back into their favor. A canister goes, but so does Tex. Finds one more, finally. Shot down by Ayagator, who's buried inside the gun vault, swinging and peeking his head, but Alfama is there to take it off Fnatic. Find their opening attack.
I think CYCLOPS have just suffered from a lack of information there. We saw, I think it was the Wamai just running around the corner and being completely shut down. Absolutely no idea that they are running into guns, and that to me says that they just don't really know exactly where all those attackers are pushing from. It was all a little bit frantic for CYCLOPS there, and it's no surprise because Fnatic played it aggressively. They got in there, they got themselves kills, and they just piled on the pressure. We saw in a couple of rounds ago, I think it was round 5, we saw what can happen sometimes. You get that early flurry of kills, and then you get this lull in the mid-round as the attackers go back to their drones and the defenders can just readjust themselves. Well, there was absolutely none of that from Fnatic there. They smelt blood in the water, and they just swam after it at a rate of knots. There was absolutely no slowing them down, and they just went out and got the kills.
I love the confidence. I love that they saw the possibility of let's apply pressure. We're a man down, but screw it. Caution to a wind. We know we can win these fights because that is the energy that we've wanted from them for a long time. And yeah, it's so tough, especially when things start to falter a little bit and you start to lose bodies and you're on attack on Villa on the first kind of go around it. These things happen, but they don't happen to Fnatic without the cost, and the cost isn't paid by them. It's paid by CYCLOPS, who got shut down by them saying, no, no, no. I didn't hear no bell.
Interesting, I just saw the replay from that opening kill on blackray. I thought at the time that he'd actually sprayed and hit him into the closet, but it looked like he'd come through the bathroom window, and he was just able to get him as he tried to peek around that little sort of half wall that's on the right-hand side as you come through the window. So absolutely fantastic shot from blackray to take that kill down. Now, heading into round 8, we are going to see CYCLOPS move sites. They're going to try to defend Trophy and Statuary this time. They don't want any more of that Aviator Games action after last time around, and who can blame them? I'm sure they're going to remember that one for a good while now. Mag, he's going to open up the line of sight through into the closet. That should ensure some safety for the players to start moving in if they wish to do so. Fnatic looking to just take quick control over the master and bathroom area to try and start pushing towards site, and once again they're just not taking their foot off the gas pedal at all. It is toe to the boards.
Now then, as they start to try to smash their way through, obviously scarpered a little by the slowdown on the breach on the wall with the mute, but they have more than enough in their arsenal to take it out. And there's a way of doing it with a flourish. Gatorada grenaded out of here. The Wamai is gone.
That was practically an impact nade. That was absolutely beautifully timed. There was nothing at all that the Wamai could do. Even his magnets could not save him. That was just great teamwork, great synchronization there as the utility was burnt. In flies the frag, and sit down, Gatorada. You are on the cams for the remainder of this round now. Mag just getting himself on the rappel there, looking to once again apply pressure, just set up a crossfire. The Gemini drone going to be taken out. Anaton is just holding himself pretty toughly inside of the Aviator room there, looking to just keep pressure on that Study and Aviator side. They do not want to give up for a south-sided push just yet. He's going to dip himself back into Gunvolt, but as Suzuki goes down, he needs to be very careful here because this means there's only 2 left on site. And look at that, every single angle is covered as Mag just gets in, opens up the soft wall and shuts down Anaton. Ayagator manages to trade him out, but it could be, I was going to say, it could be little more than a meaningless kill, but he manages to find himself a second, and in the mid-round lull, we find ourselves unexpectedly in a 2 versus 3.
Stiggs is cautious, and rightfully so. There's one body, and there they go. Now, it's a 3 versus 1, and Black Ray has a lot of ground to make up very quickly, concerned about the long angle, but with 30 seconds, Fnatic are like, well, no, let's not take that fight there. Let's put it into a post plant and put the pressure on really in our hands. There's a quick swing and a spray, and it catches one on the opposite side, on the opposite site, and an escape is made, but there's still caution. It's a 2 versus 1 as he finds one more, doesn't find the last. Tex puts Fnatic onto map point. That's not an expression I expected, but hey, they've earned any expressions they please.
They're doing fantastically well at the minute. What I like to see from Fnatic here is that they are the ones now winning out in these tough situations. They're getting themselves sometimes down to a 1 versus 1, but they're able to step up and close it out. Tex with a great kill there as he moved in through the breach into Trophy and just shut the man down. Now, it looks like we're going to have a tactical timeout, which is not too much of a surprise. CYCLOPS looking to just slow things down a little bit here. They have to do something to try and take this pressure off, because Fnatic right now, they've got them backs against the wall and they are just going for them.
You got to give credit to Fnatic. I think the way that they responded into this game is they expected aggression. They expected this sort of hard push play, attention focused kind of confidence, which CAG plays all the way till the end. We saw it in that round. The huge rotation off-site when they'd lost all the bodies on-site for the possibility of collapsing on the opposite side. You know, not a lot of teams would do that, especially on a map like Villa, but they did, and Fnatic have just read it brilliantly. The entire game, they keep applying the pressure in the right ways.
This is the Fnatic that we expect to see realistically coming in. As you say, they certainly seem like they've done their homework. They know everything that CYCLOPS is going to do almost before CYCLOPS does, and they are just one step ahead of them at every single turn. And this is the game that Fnatic needed. And honestly, Emma, I think this is one of the best things that could have happened for this APAC North stage. Fnatic get themselves a win, stop CYCLOPS getting too far ahead of themselves, and just catapult themselves up the table. And all of a sudden, this could well become a 3-horse race.
Well, 6-2, they have plenty of opportunities to try to close this out and put some points preciously in their performance quota. But, as you said, once upon a time, and I'm going to touch every bit of wood possible for Fnatic fans, just so you know I'm not trying to jinx anything. I'm not trying to be like Dez. They sometimes have a problem closing out games. Sometimes they get a little bit lost on the fact that it's so close. We have to see them keep playing like it's 1-1. We have to see them keep playing like it's a draw on the board, and they're dedicated to locking it down. C'est magnifique.
I love that. Absolutely love that. It was just pinpoint accuracy. He could have landed that nade on a penny and it would have taken it down. It was fantastic. So Black Ray, just as you can see, tried to make the challenge, but he did very well. He got himself 2 out of 3, but unfortunately it shut down just shortly after. And as you say quite rightly, now that Fnatic have got themselves on the match point, we need to see them close this out. This is the next improvement that we need to see from them. They've had reasonable passages of play previously, but they just seem to allow themselves to get taken to overtime repeatedly. What they need to do now is show us that they can clinch these games out, that they can take them over the line, and that they can put them in the win column rather than allowing CYCLOPS back into this. And from what we've seen so far, there is absolutely no way that CYCLOPS should be coming back into this. But Anaton, he doesn't agree with that, and he's going to step in and get that opening kill onto Mag. Fnatic, they're going to have to fight from behind, 4 versus 5.
That's not the first time they've had to do that, and they fought back from worse. So they're still making sure that they keep the pressure and the ideas wide. The adaptation here to play against the drone game. They are bringing that vigil. They're doubling down with the Mozzie, which they played a bit before, to make sure that any approach or reproach is covered. Intel has been how they've pinched and pincered people, and oh no, it's suffered them greatly. Gatarada hiding in the corner in the closet in the bathroom. Well, he's just found himself a double, and he heads out of there clean as a whistle.
CYCLOPS managing to really establish themselves here then. Lusty manages to get one, Stigs gets another, but is downed in the process, leaving us 1 versus 3 effectively for Lusty here. Very unlikely that he gets the opportunity to pick Stigs up as he is being challenged, as we can see with the TCSG. Will shut down the first man, but in comes the trade for Anaton. Well played from CYCLOPS. They had Lusty surrounded there inside of the astronomy room, and there was very little that he could do as he was closed out on the round. And that leaves us now with CYCLOPS taking one step, and that's all they can do is one step at a time, try and get themselves back into this game. And we're going to have another tactical timeout. I'm going to have to get my glasses back on. I'm nowhere near quick enough for this.
Yeah, it's a lot of suddenly having to sit back down. Okay, we usually get a bit of a heads up, sure, we can do it, but when it's back to back, especially when you're 3 rounds up, it's a particular time. I get the tactical side of this. This is them kind of saying they've just had it and it's worked for them. They want to build on this momentum. Let's kick our feet up. Let's have a conversation. Let's slow things down again, because sometimes it's not just what you talk about in the timeout, but when you take it that's very important.
It is, and it feels like this is all about disruption from Fnatic. As you say, CYCLOPS have gone in, they've used their timeout, they've steadied the ship, got themselves back in and got around, so Fnatic immediately just say, yeah, that's fine, let's disrupt them. Let's not let them gather any pace behind that or any confidence from it. And so we'll see how it progresses, but I think that could be a good call there. We're going to be heading back into round number 10. It's going to be Aviator Games this time. Now then, Aviator Games has not been the best site so far defensively. We've seen it defended once in round 7 by CYCLOPS, and they were overrun by Fnatic. Very much so. They got themselves the early advantage. Black Ray taking Lusty out in the bathroom, but then they were just completely shut down by a very, very aggressive Fnatic push.
Let's see what the adaptation brings. Still doubling down on that no drones allowed policy as they tap the sign with fervor. And they say, well, let's throw on the mute to that equation to severely structurally limiting the possibility of Fnatic getting eyes inside the site. But to be fair, the way Fnatic have often played it before is, okay, I'm just going to swing on then. And we've seen them being successful with that aggression, almost pulling away a double and almost getting away with his life before, but crawled. And, well, that 2 versus 1 was a 3 versus 1 and was an unfortunate situation in the previous round. But as I said, they have had success. They have been able to build upon this before. Can they do it just one more dance, Fnatic?
Entry kill could be important here in round 10. You feel like if Fnatic get themselves an advantage and some momentum and pace within the round, that CYCLOPS are really going to struggle there. I think CYCLOPS is very important keep themselves with their best foot forward and make sure that they're not slipping behind at any point, because I think the mental game will become very, very important very quickly in that case. We can see the first E1D Scan is going to come out. Anaton, however, will find one onto Stigs. That is great use of the vigil there. We saw that his scanner was active at the time, and it does actually prevent him from being pinged out by the Lion scan. So that could be great use of that counter. Manages to get the opening kill onto Stigs. That's going to be the sledge gone, and nades along with him. Gatorada just doubles down as well. Headshot onto Mag, 5 versus 3, and it's looking good for CYCLOPS. Could this be the comeback that Fnatic desperately do not want?
Well, Alfama stems the flow and stops the vigil, causing too much more hemorrhaging, but there's still 4 more bodies and a whole lot of sight left to get through, and that includes a severe limitation on what you can do. No hard destruction really is currently seemingly the plan as they set that soul body up with the long angle watch, but they're just going to keep him around red for now. Obviously, his is the option to try and break through any of the walls, but it would involve getting underneath to potentially take care of those mute jammers, and that would also double down on, well, we need to do another roam clear of a different aspect. So the steps of, instead of saying, well, let's try and put the fight on, well, that's how they're going to play it now. We find CYCLOPS digging in, holding and waiting to find the best course of approach, with Black Ray the one that's making sure they can't get the easy one underneath. Here's the charges, there's the jam, and it seems like they're just going to try and dig in and underneath and make sure they don't get caught from the opposite side. A pre-fire onto that little red box allows them to pop that round, and there goes the jam, but Gator is, no, it's on the opposite side.
That is smart play from CYCLOPS on the defense. They're able to shut down that Selma charge in a way that Fnatic at least haven't expected. It's not impossible to clear. It's soft floor underneath the mute jammer, so they will be able to clear it out from underneath, but it will take an awful lot of time. It'll force them into the hands of BlackRay, who shuts down Alfama whilst he's still out on the roam. They have not sufficiently cleared the roamers here. Lusty does manage to shut down the Mozzie. That's going to be BlackRay gone. 3 versus 2, but with 25 seconds left to go and limited access to the site, this is not going to be easy. The push is all mounting from the south side, but they have split and they're going to take a door each. Tex and Lusty looking to move inside the site. 15 seconds left to go. They need to find some kills right now. CYCLOPS just try to keep themselves alive. One dies inside a gunvault. Irrigator gets a nice nitro kill in a second. Irrigator's going huge today.
Pulls them back into it there, and as I said originally, it seemed like they were going to fob off the hard destruction, then went, well, let's take Vault, and tried it in one of the manners that was suggested, but without that underneath control, as they then read, they couldn't get much further. They tried, and yet again it put them in a situation of their roam clear. The things I cited as a thread of a story was told, and unfortunately it left Fnatic on the back foot, but 2 rounds in a row still does not tie this game up. There's still 2 more opportunities for Fnatic to lock it off and get full points, and obviously there's even OT to try to find something, but they do not want that half victory that OT can offer. They are going for the full fat, and unfortunately, seemingly their momentum is as stuck as a big boat in a Suez Canal. Can they find a way to dig themselves out of trouble?
Well, they're going to need something a little bit bigger than a small excavator, I think, at this point. The mental game is going to start becoming very, very real for Fnatic at this point. We've got to remember that they've been taken to overtime twice so far, and they've not come away well from it. And I'm sure that those memories are still going to be very, very fresh. And given that they were at a point 6-2 ahead, that's a lot of match points to burn if they allow themselves to be reeled back into overtime, and you just start wondering at that point just how successful they can be inside of those additional rounds if that's what it comes to. It sort of feels like if CYCLOPS can get themselves there, they've almost already secured the win, because Fnatic will be on such a back foot. Fnatic, they need to come out and just deal with this here and now. They can't allow this to go to 12 rounds. They can't allow CYCLOPS back within touching distance. They need to be critical, they need to be clinical, and they need to be ruthless now.
Wow, BlackRay is trying to step up with the ruthlessness that was previously offered with the open door. Wants to swing on anyone that might try and get a bit of clarity from Modroom and see if they go for the library take. But Mag was able to get up there and put the pressure on before anybody was able to catch him. Going to keep the wide potential hold and the possibility of a run out, but it's probably a bit too wide to take Mad there, though. It's Lusty that is the first off the board. Ash can't quite find his way around with the jiggle peek and Gatorada, putting the pressure from above, and Fnatic, they try to drone their way through, stall and apply the pressure. There it is. Stigs drops Gatorada, gets revenge concern from Astro stairs, but nobody wants to traverse them just yet.
4 versus 4, 1 minute gone, and again those early kills coming in, and then we have this settling down of both sides as they realise exactly what is at stake now. BlackRay is being allowed to play underneath here. He's just dropped down from the top floor. He's not challenged as he moves through that main door area, which is on the opposite side of the map to the site itself, but it does allow Fnatic to have the top floor control that they may need. They've got plenty of time to really make it pay here. They can start opening up some vertical angles. They've got a small amount of soft destruction available to them. Alfama will catch Anaton out in the piano room, and he'll play him a tune as he puts him in the ground. That's going to be 4 versus 3. We've got 1 minute 25 left to go, and could this be the advantage that Fnatic need? Could this be the opportunity for them to come in and finally close out a full 3-point win, to not be taken to overtime, to not be reeled back in like a floundering fish into the boat? They need to take the advantage. They need to be the shark here, and they need to take a chunk out of CYCLOPS.
Well, Stigs wants to apply some pressure onto the washroom, swinging around to see if there's anybody that can get caught, but the Banshee's going to scream as soon as they get close to that door, so they have to move with a little bit of caution, even though they have that body advantage, and now they're able to capitalize upon it. There's the jam from the opposite side, and there's the attention of BlackRay hopping up, caught by a drone on the rotation, caught by the quick possibility of the pinch. Black Ray is stuck in a tight space. They trade though, and now it's just Suzu. All the hopes of Cyclops are left struggling and holding on. He has 30 seconds to wait out, bait out, and play out and outplay the 3 remaining bodies of Fnatic. They have the diffuser, they have eyes on the opposite site, and they have one that's being a bit cautious over here. It's Tex on the Nomad. They are drawing a lot of attention, but with 15 seconds, there's the hop in, there's the frost mat, and there's the wait, there's the pick up and play. The rotation comes around the side. Is the cover there? Is the cover in place? There's a post plant. There it is. Fnatic take the game and the full 3 points.
Such a close finish at the end there, just as the man popped up off the diffuser. I tell you what, I could see a timeline whereby Cyclops were able to close that one out, but no, Fnatic shut him down. He just managed to get his weapon to bear, closed out the remaining defender, and closed out what is an essential win for Fnatic, and one that I think really does throw some interesting possibilities into the mix here for stage 1 in APAC North.
Well, that's the story we have for us for now. It's the one